Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello guys, welcome to our show. Today we discuss about recruiting, how you can find talented digital marketers. I know how it's hard from my personal experience because I have my agency, my customers need many marketers as well, and I know that it's hard to find marketers who have experience, who can lead your business in the right direction, because for me the era of lazy marketers is dead. So I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Adam Posner. How are you?
Anatoly, thank you so much for having me today, and pleasure to meet you and your audience.
Yeah, for me it's a big pleasure to learn more about marketing. I'm so excited. Before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you decided to spend your time and career finding great marketers.
Yeah, that's a big question there. So I'll give everybody a little bit of background into my story. I'm a born and raised New Yorker, something I take a lot of pride in. And when I came out of university, I knew I was going to go into marketing and advertising, and that's what I did for the first 15 years of my career. I worked at different ad agencies. I worked client side, as we like to say, at American Express, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, home of Howard Stern. So I've always worked in digital marketing, either account management, digital strategy, social strategy. And I did that for the first 15 years of my career. And then about 8 years ago, I had a career life-changing situation where I decided to pivot and change careers into recruiting for marketing, media, and advertising. I worked at a couple of search firms learning how to be a recruiter. And then a little over 5 years ago, I said, I'm done. Anatoly, I'm done working for other people. And I went out on my own and I launched my recruiting firm, NHP Talent Group. And that's the story.
Nice. Love it. Okay, let's start from the basic question. Can you tell where to find great marketers? For example, if I have a new product, I want to market, I want to get sales, results. Tell how to find them.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to your network. And when we say network, that doesn't always mean LinkedIn specifically. LinkedIn is just a database. It's just a digital Rolodex of your connections and where you connect with them and engage with them. But my network is offline as well, too. It's all the folks that I've met throughout my career and life journey, the people that I keep in touch with. So I know through my network of marketers where people are, where they're working, hopefully where they're at in their career, if they're open to making a move. So I usually start with folks, who I know, or ask them who they know. Hey, listen, I have an open role. One of my clients is looking. Do you know anybody? And then I start to work my way down the ladder into LinkedIn, into our other databases that we have from previous and similar jobs that we've worked recruiting for.
You mentioned about LinkedIn. I love this platform, and compared to many other different social media platforms, for me, LinkedIn works well because of business mind, because of even it's interesting that, for example, if I reach out to people on Facebook and LinkedIn, the same people, they have different mindset. For example, on Facebook, they have one mode, on LinkedIn, another one. Can you tell how LinkedIn can help you during the way? Because, for example, I found that many people are sending spam messages. I get a bunch of them every single day. And spam inbox, my spam inbox loves all these messages. I lead them to this direction. Tell more about LinkedIn and your methods.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting. I mean, LinkedIn, I've been on LinkedIn since, I'm going to say 2006, 7, 2000, right at the early stages of LinkedIn. So I've seen the continual growth. So LinkedIn started as, we'll call it a digital resume platform where people had their professional profiles. Recruiters started to use it. LinkedIn started to monetize the platform and build out their LinkedIn recruiter platform. Then they built out their sales navigator platform for sales folks to connect and send messages. And now we got to a point where recruiters, I mean, believe me, I send plenty of messages, but I try to be hyper-focused and hyper-personalized. But it's become spam. It's become like email because it's very easy with automation tools to spray and pray. That tactic is called spray and pray, when people just mass email you, they DM, they fill your inbox, and they're not going to break through the clutter. If you really want to break through the clutter, it's really a multiple stage approach. Yes, I'll send the message on LinkedIn to cover my bases in some cases. If I see a candidate that's really solid, I'll reach out and send a personalized connection message. And I also have other tools that I use, Anatoly, to find their direct email and phone number. So there's some cases where I'll text a candidate. But you have to be careful with texting. Texting can be very intrusive. So I usually save texting till at least I established an initial connection with somebody, whether that be email or phone, and we build a rapport. But there's many ways. But LinkedIn has been a fantastic resource for me and so many other recruiters. You just have to know how to use it the right way and not be annoying. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Don't be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I try to build my audience with website owners, entrepreneurs, who need to get traffic. But I found that many students are following me and they are looking for advice how to find this dream job. Can you lead them in the right direction? Because they write their CVs, resumes, many other stuff, but it's hard to get results, and many of them complain, they submit like 100 requests, but nobody replies to them, or to get this automatic replies. Can you tell them what it's better to do today to get a dream job?
That's a big question there, and it really comes down to a couple of things, and I think you have to be strategic in your job search. One, you have to be realistic, right? I want to be an astronaut. I'm telling you straight up, I would love to go to space and I want to be an astronaut, but I'm not changing my careers right now and going to be an astronaut and going through training and trying to pass the space program and all the other processes that you need to that. So you need to be realistic first and foremost. If you're staying within your current career, having a target list. These are the companies that I would love to work at for X, Y, and Z reason. So start to build your network there. Start to connect with folks before your job search. Start to connect with folks that work there. And you could strategically engage with them in their comments on LinkedIn. Start to build your relationship that way. Get your face and your presence known. Ask smart questions, engaging. That may lead to an engagement in a direct message where now you're building a relationship with somebody who could be your asset and your ally on the inside of that company. So that's step one. Start to build those relationships before you reach out. Before you reach out to Adam and say, hey, Adam, I see you have an open job at your company. Can you help me out? No, I don't know you. I'm not going to just help you out of nowhere. Come on. That's not the way it works. So you have to stay organized and you have to be strategic. And I always say looking for a new job is harder than any job you've ever had. Mm-hmm. You need to be focused, determined, and strategic in what you're doing and very calculated. Again, you don't want to be as a job seeker spraying and praying. Now, the problem is if someone's out of work, they start to get desperate. I've been there before many times in my career, and it's not a good feeling. You're waiting for feedback. Why isn't this person connecting with me? Why aren't they responding to my email? Why can't I get an interview? And those are the times that you really got to, take a step back and think, am I staying to the strategy? Am I doing things the right way? And if things are not going the right way, really evaluate your process. What am I doing wrong? Am I applying for jobs that are too out of my range? Why are people not responding to my messages? And really think about it. And if you have to, ask for help. Find a good career coach.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I usually tell someone who is looking for a job, stop doing what everyone is doing, because it's hard. I can't tell that it doesn't work, but it's hard to get high results with that, well-paid job, a lucrative salary, and it's not even about money. It's more about loving job when you have a job in a good team. And I usually tell them, build relationships, as you mentioned, to build relationships. And they ask me how to do it. The best way, open company profiles on LinkedIn, comment on their posts. Don't write something like this, thank you, great post. It doesn't work. Just share value, help others, support them. And if companies can see that someone pays attention to their profile, to their actions, they can analyze your profile and see, oh yeah, this guy can help me, can help us to grow. So to share value first, build relationships, and go ahead with that.
I wouldn't say engaging on the company profile, because you never know who's controlling it and who's looking at it. I don't think there's great results that way. I think really, if you see thought leaders within an organization that work within a company, to follow them. And it's usually middle to higher line management. We're not talking about the C-suite, because most larger organizations, you may have a senior executive posting, but a decent amount of the time, someone might be managing their account on behalf of the business, unless you see some of these senior executives and these, C-suites that are putting out a lot of content on their own. Then you could start to engage there and get on their radar. But that kind of middle of the line management that's kind of on par with your level or a step above, those are the folks that you want to get in front of, because they're the ones that have the ear within the organization.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when someone replied to me, I tried your methods, but it didn't work for me. And I asked, okay, tell me what you did. And he replied to me, I found a company, I commented, how many times? 3 times. 3 times, man. It's not enough. And even more, you can, as you mentioned, it's better to comment on post decision makers on this company. You can find some decision makers, then comment on their post. And sometimes it takes like a few weeks, a few months, years, even years. You can comment. Just find a list of companies, not one company, many companies.
No. You spread it out and spend a lot of time. One of the things that I do on LinkedIn every day is before I even post, unless I have something I have to get out of my head immediately, I spend a lot of time engaging and commenting on other people's posts and content before I post.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a good method. It also kind of warms up the algorithm. It gets the algorithm on LinkedIn warmed up to know that you're active. So by the time your post comes, you'll have more activity on it and more eyeballs. So that's the approach that I take.
Yeah, and it calls reciprocity rule. When when you help others, comment on their posts, engage their posts, it brings if it brings value, people wanna give something back, so they can comment on your posts, engage them, like them. So yeah, I love the strategy as well.
And reciprocity is interesting too, because it's not like for like, it's not comment for comment. I have many friends on LinkedIn that I see their feed and I see their posts, and I only engage on their posts if I want to, if I feel the need, if it's something's talking to me, and if it speaks to me. I don't feel like I have to. There's certain folks on LinkedIn who are in my network, and if it's something that adds value and I could add value back, great. But don't feel obligated to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you have no anything to say, just go ahead, find other posts. Okay, Adam, I have the question about companies. How to find talented marketers today? Because for example, if I submit the request, I can get like 100 replies. For me, it's hard to check out all of them because a lack of time. Every morning when I check out my email or any other task, I understand. For me, it's impossible to do.
You have a lot of
anything.
applications. Yep.
So yeah, tell your suggestions how to find the right people.
Right. So if you're in a company within an organization and you're in charge of recruiting, I mean, you know that you're going to have to screen these candidates. So there's inbound and outbound, right? Inbound are the ones that are coming in through direct applications. And if your company has an applicant tracking system or other kind of database that those applications come through, you could easily sort through them. You could look at the candidates with the skill sets. And I mean, there's a first take on any candidate, especially when you have a lot of volume coming in. You can't speak to everyone who applies. That's not the way it works. So you have to look on paper and see the ones on paper that look the closest to your skill set. It's not rocket science. And those are the ones you want to engage. Now, on the outside of that, actual recruiting, the art of recruiting, being a headhunter, going to look for the talent that the company is looking for that specific role. And a lot of the times it's looking at the competition. I'm a company. I know who my competitors are. I know the folks that work there are on the same sector, similar skill set. So I'm looking for somebody who might be like say it's a director role that we're looking to fill. I'm looking at a manager, a senior manager at a competitor who's looking to make their way up. That's a prime target. That's how I want to go after. Now, there's the age-old conversation of, hire for character, train for skill. In theory, I think we could all agree that makes sense. We want people who have good character and good values. Of course we do. Of course we do. But we also need people for 9 out of 10 jobs in this world that have a skill set already. There are certain pieces we could train on the job, but there are other pieces that you need to come to the table with that kind of experience. So I think it's important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, let's talk about headhunting. Tell how to use the strategy. I remember when Neil Patel shares video, how Neil Patel Digital is looking for new candidates. They usually headhunting. They don't submit requests because what they do, they usually open LinkedIn, analyze potential candidates, and they see if they can work for a long time in one company, if they grow time to time, so they are not stagnating. After that, they can reach out to them and tell, we are looking for someone with a similar experience to yours. If you have any help, suggestions, please reply to us. And many of them reply, okay, I'm going to work in your company. Tell about your way how to find great people by headhunting.
So it's really interesting too. There's a couple of companies that do it really well on LinkedIn, and we call it employer branding or candidate engagement, talent acquisition, content strategies. The best tool that a company has for talent acquisition are their current employees. When you create an environment where you are nurturing and encouraging your employees to post freely on LinkedIn or social media, and hey, listen, we have a good company. We're hoping that our employees are going to talk about it. Why wouldn't I want to work there? I don't want to see a company ad asking me to work there and showing a picture of a ping pong table or whatever. That's not going to motivate me. But when I see Adam talking about the company that he works at, why he likes working there, that's interesting to me. That will generate inbound leads. Now, again, as a recruiter on the inside, you still need to go through those applications and determine who's qualified or not. But that is a fantastic low-cost strategy. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is have a culture that fosters and welcomes and encourages employees to post whatever the heck they want on social media. Now, listen, if someone's posting garbage, if someone's posting falsisms, things that are just not true about the company, that's one thing. But most people, if they like where they work, they want other people to come there and be happy.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think, if you can create such culture, when people are happy on their jobs, because according to a few studies, 70% of people are unhappy with their jobs. So and I've learned a little bit about the study. It's a lot, 70%.
Yeah,
Can you tell, for example, if someone on this ratio, on this 70%, your tips, what to do if you are unhappy with your job, what to do next?
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, we all have one life, and you have to be happy in this life. Some people do not have the luxury, depending on their socioeconomic status, where they live, to just say, hey, I hate this job, I'm out, right? Like, some people don't have that luxury. Some people don't have the luxury to be without a job. And when you're in a full-time job, sometimes you can't find the time for the job search, and it becomes a vicious cycle, Antonelli. It becomes a cycle of, I don't have the time, I can't look for a job, I'm stuck here, I have too much work to do. But at the end of the day, if you are not happy, it's time to look. It's really as simple as that. Again, goes back to the strategy. Think about what you want. Think about what is next. Stay focused, stay organized, come up with a plan, work your plan, and plan your work. That is my suggestion.
Yeah. I remember one interesting quote: if you are unhappy with your job, leave it and you will never regret. So I know it's hard. Sometimes it's hard when you need to pay bills.
Of course it is.
When you have some loans, you're not sure about the future, when you need to feed your family, kids. It's hard. But in my life, I was 2 times completely bankrupt in Ukraine. I lost my first financial company in 2008, and I got debts like 3,000 average salaries in Ukraine.
Yeah,
that was so hard for me, because Ukrainian government decided to disallow all banking loans in 2008 when the world crisis came. So and our business helped other businesses to get these loans. I lost everything. I lost all my investments, resources. I got these debts, and then, but I acquired experience. I had this experience that was hard, I spent like 5 years to work hard to get all these debts back, and I got experience that the next time I don't need to put all eggs in one bag.
Right. So, do not put all your eggs in. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. And I think, I truly believe that it's when you're at your lowest, because there's no stronger foundation to build up on than rock bottom. When there's nothing else below you and you're at that bottom, you can't go lower than that. And that foundation is solid, because the foundation is your core. The foundation are your values, your character. And now it's time to rebuild. Let's start from scratch. Let's build it up. I mean, that's what happened to me. I had to build up my
Yeah.
entire career. I mean, I got fired at the age of 35, and I said, shit, like, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do? Well, not my life, but what am I going to do with my career? I knew what I was doing in my life. I, one kid, another one on the way. And I rebuilt it, and I focused on a new career, a new profession, learning everything I could about it. And then when it came time to launch my business, yes, it was my first solo business, but I knew from my, 20 years of experience in the workforce beforehand what I needed to do to get this operationalized. I knew what I needed to do for business development, and I had that wind behind my sail pushing me.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and guys, if you lost everything, but if you have 2 hands, 2 legs, health, you have enough to go ahead to overcome all these obstacles. Just believe you can, because health is more important. And I remember someone asked Gary Vee, what I need to do? I'm 25 years old. I have no job. I don't know what kind of future will be. And he replied to him, you are living in the US, United States. You speak English. You have everything to overcome. Just work hard. Find your passion. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting too, because I think the immigrant mentality, which my family came from, 3 generations back. You're coming over here with that. It's the balance of understanding hard work and knowing what it means to make shit happen and doing that and to prove yourself and to know that you're in a great place for all the crap that our country is in the news and how bad it is and the divide, which is all awful. We are still in so much better place here than so many other people around the world. And I think everyone needs to remember that. I mean, look at you. You fled the war-torn Ukraine to come here for a better life for you and your family, to build your business, to do what you have to do. And people do what they have to do. And you have that motivation. And I think that it's a big problem in this country when, we're not going to get into it, where some people feel entitlement, when people feel like they don't want to work, they don't have to work, and they'll take a government handout. You know what I say to that? I said, screw you. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to make my own and just worry about myself. Right. Yeah. And I know what the opportunities are. So you're right about that. You have to have the motivation to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and make things happen. That's the American way.
I think, I found one interesting thing that winners, they don't complain because have no time with that. Okay, you can be frustrated because many terrible things you got them, because of this experience. I was there, but I didn't have time to complain. I knew that I need to do something. So when missiles hit, when all these bombs, Russian army came, so I didn't, find time to complain that, okay, it's not honest, it's not good. So, so I decided to relocate everyone, and help a lot. So, it's tough time. But I just want to tell, if you have this experience, it's better to be patient, to go ahead step by step. And can you tell more about practice, because I see when people get these certificates, any other educational, they read a lot, but they do nothing. I'm not sure it's a good idea that if you, for example, people have short memory and they can forget for something for a few days. Personally, I can forget for a few hours.
I forget for a few minutes.
Yeah. Right? So. And it's better to practice. Can you tell how to practice if you have a job, for example?
I think it goes back to a word that I preach, and that word is invaluable. And what invaluable means is being able to provide value to someone with no expectation of anything in return. For example, I have clients where the economy may be going, down, and they may not have work for me. But if I continue while I have no work to send them relevant articles and send them information, or maybe pass along a candidate or make a connection without having my hand out asking for something, that is invaluable. Because what's going to happen is when the economy turns good again, when they need to hire, they're going to come to me. But what that's also doing is I'm continuing to practice my craft as not just a recruiter, but a marketer. And being mindful of what my clients' needs are and understanding their market and what they're looking for and keeping myself involved in that market. So stay sharp. I think that's what it really is, to stay sharp. Do a white paper. right? If you're trying to practice something and you see something in the news that's relevant about your industry or technology, write about it. Create a blog post, write a LinkedIn post, write a Twitter thread. Do something.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm not a big reader. There's tons of books that come out there. I probably read, 1 or 2 business books a year when I'm flying by myself. If I'm flying with my kids, I'm not reading anything. Believe me, nothing's getting done on that flight. But when I'm by myself, I try to read business books. Ray Dalio, folks that I admire, and pick up tips here and there. There's a couple of recruiting story books that I've been reading lately. But it's hard to take all that in your head and then put it into action. The theories, the mindsets. And for me, it's more about motivation when I read those books. Unless I'm reading a tactical, manual about how to do something like search engine marketing, programmatic, data, Web3 stuff, whatever, that's different. But there's only so many books you could read to retain and then put it into action. So I think there's a balance there between ingesting, digesting, and actually doing the work.
Yeah. Valuable. And I think I agree with the approach that it's important to read books. I love reading books, but I'm not sure that if I read 100 books how to play soccer, I can play like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right, you still have to be good at soccer.
Yeah, he prefers to play. All great soccer players, they spend more time on the field to hit balls like 10,000 times. They can hit this ball. And I don't know any soccer player who reads a lot 100 books how to play soccer, how to be a great soccer player. They play. It's the same with basketball, with any other niche you need to act. So I love reading because you can get some ideas, knowledge, foundation, skills. But you need to do this, and it's interesting. I read about Bill Gates. When he reads books, he makes notes, and think, okay, how I can implement it. Because of this short memory, we can forget. But after noting, he understands, okay, I'm going to implement, I'm going to use this idea. It's interesting for me. So you can use the same approach. For me, 20% of my time for learning and 80% for acting. Acting is more important than anything else. It's my approach. You can find yours, so it depends. If you start from scratch, of course, it's better to start more learning. But anyway, you need to implement. Especially, I remember when I decided to grow on LinkedIn in 2020. I registered my account, and I read a lot of articles how to grow on LinkedIn, best practices, and nothing worked for me. Except when I started to act, to implement, to test, to fail, to get low engagement, then magic happened. After
so what's the secret? I mean, you have 90,000, 93,000 followers. How do you get up to 93,000 followers? I mean, I work hard for my followers. I'm close to 33, 34,000. I mean, what's the secret there?
I'm not sure it's a secret. It's not secret. It's more about consistency. Because, for example, when I started, I tried to use best practices. For example, if I got that video can get high engagement, I tried to film and I failed because it's not my strong side. Then I tried to write other posts. I failed because I found that someone is good with short posts, someone is good with long posts. Then I decided, no way, I need to find what actually works for me. And my secret is to engage with others. For example, when you find posts about your niche or on feed, you need to engage and write comments. In one day I wrote like 400 comments.
Wow.
400 comments, and that was hard in the beginning because in the first day you can write like 5-10 comments, not more. It's hard. You don't know how to write them. But if you do this every single day, like I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and when I share with my audience, you need to comment on their on other posts, and they reply to me, it doesn't work because I commented 100 times. Guys, 1,000 times, 1,000 times. You need to comment a lot.
And real comments, real comments that add value, not just saying great post, agree, thank you. Real thoughtful comments, and that's hard because it's hard to keep your mind into it, but that means you're actually engaging. And to your point, like that's how you build real followers, because you're engaging with them, and people see that as well there too.
Yeah, and it's not my strategy. I took the strategy from Gary Vee. And when someone asked him how he grew his audience, he told he spent 7 years from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. every single day during 7 years to comment on Twitter. He commented on Twitter 7 years, the whole night without any excuses, without anything.
He knows how to put it. He puts in the work. Listen, Gary puts in the work. I don't care what anyone says about him. He's gotten to this point of his career through hard work and really building a true brand and a true reputation.
Yeah. So commenting works well, but it's not only about commenting. You need to create content as well. And I tried many different formats. I failed with most of them. Then I found if you inspire others, if you motivate them, if you give them a reason, you can believe in yourself, share some advice, storytelling, and motivate them. So results will come. You can do it, you can test different formats, and when you see some format can bring more results, that means it works for you. Just keep going, improve it, adapt, and it's not secret, it's just hard work. You can spend time. I in some days I did it for 8 hours without stop, just
you put in the work.
Yeah, like crazy. Okay, Adam, I have the question about for example, let's imagine you started from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills. What will you do today to learn more about recruiting?
Oh man, I would do exactly what I did. It's actually interesting when I went into recruiting, I needed to learn all about it before I actually started to interview with recruiting firms. So what I did was I reached out to all the recruiters that I worked with as a candidate. And I asked them for their time. I said, could I take you out for a cup of coffee? This is before COVID, when we actually saw people in person. I would go to the city and I would take people out for lunch and I would talk to them about recruiting. And they would tell me everything about the industry that I needed to know and answer my questions before I even decided to go for it. So I learned about it by talking to people. And I used my extroverted abilities to connect and reach out and say, hey, listen, I know nothing about this. Would you kind enough to share your time with me? And almost everybody did.
Yeah, nice, awesome. What do you think? What kind of future will be in the recruiting? Because many things are coming: metaverse, Web 3.0.
Yes.
What do you think? What will be in the future?
Listen, a lot of people talk. Listen, there's a ton of products and a ton of software out there around automation, artificial intelligence, and there's certainly a place for it in recruiting. Streamlining certain elements of the process, making it more efficient, making the time shorter for time to hire shorter. But they will never replace an actual recruiter because of the human X factor. No machine learning, no AI could have a conversation with somebody who is on the fence about taking an offer, who needs your advice on salary negotiations, who needs your advice on how to give notice, who needs your advice on how to talk to their spouse and say, hey, listen, this is my dream job, but we need to move across the country or across the world. That's what you need a real recruiter for, because the art of recruiting, the science of recruiting can be automated. The art of recruiting cannot. And the art of recruiting comes down to understanding motivations and the human X factor. So we're going to see a great revolution in recruiting. I'm excited, actually, and I'm kind of digging into the space too of how, aside from LinkedIn right now and your resume, where does your career journey live? Where does your career history live? Where does your, if you're a coder, if you're just on, GitHub, or if you're an artist and you have your portfolio on your website. But blockchain and Web3 are going to revolutionize how we own our career information. And there's some fantastic companies and products out there that I'm associated with, that I'm having conversations with, that I'm learning, that I'm interviewing on my show, on the podcast, because I want to learn about it and I want to have a first mover advantage. I want to be in the know when it comes to this technology. And the real key piece is there's going to be, and it's real soon, and it's out there, is storing your career information. We'll call it a digital resume on the blockchain that's verified, where your employment can be verified. It's not saying why you got let go, how long, it'll say how long you've been there, but verified information, verified referrals that you own, that you could give access to any company. And this is happening. So instead of me trying to email or my PDF or Word document resume, there'll be databases where that lives that I give access to. And that's exciting to me. And it's decentralized where it's not sitting on LinkedIn. If LinkedIn shuts off tomorrow, so many people are out of work. All those LinkedIn career coaches, all those people that are selling LinkedIn courses and all that stuff, you have to own your database. That's why I tell people every couple of months, download your LinkedIn database. You could do it. Go into settings, download your contacts. It's not going to give you their email addresses, but there's ways to find these people. They don't own LinkedIn owns your data. LinkedIn owns every single thing you put on there. Remember that.
Yeah, nice, great tip. Okay, I have the question about AI tools. What do you think AI tools can help with hiring, and any tips about the right hiring? Because I check out a few studies that I don't remember exactly the number, but it's like 60 or 70% of companies are not satisfied with hiring. So they can hire someone, but they're not suitable fit for their companies. Can you tell how to minimize this number? Because we sometimes, we can make bad hiring, but how to minimize it?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to process, right? It comes down to having a process and sticking to the process. And it comes down to also a unified front where all the recruiters, all the hiring managers are going by a system. And we're talking about a larger company. You could also apply a lot of these tactics to small. I believe in a fair scoring system. So when you're interviewing candidates, everyone's being rated fairly. Everyone's having the same amount of interviews. So you can't say, hey, I talked to Dave twice and Susie 4 times. I don't like Dave. But Dave only spoke to people twice. He didn't have the opportunity to speak to the other people. Having a unified process. I think AI and other tools are critical for sourcing. They help. They cannot be everything. They could help, again, as I said earlier, they could help streamline the process. They could help inform the process. They could help with candidate feedback. They could help with organization, all those pieces to help optimize and speed up the process, but they can't be everything. So it really comes down to having well-trained recruiters and well-trained hiring managers. Hiring managers the problem is people throw around the word hiring manager. Hiring manager just means somebody who's interviewing or who that role reports to. I don't think a lot of people understand what hiring manager means. And there's a lot of folks out there who do not know how to interview. They don't know the right way to interview. They'll get on a call and be like, Anatoly, so tell me about yourself. Great. Or they'll start a half-hour interview where me just telling you about the company and the job, and then I look down at my watch and we just spent 22 minutes and we have 8 minutes left for you to tell me about yourself and me to ask questions. Like, come on. So there's a lot of tools out there that are doing a lot of the upfront work. When a candidate applies, they're doing a lot of that. Let's tell you about the company. Let's make sure that you're qualified. If there's certain like hard skills, if there's programming skills that you must have. All right, we're looking for search engine optimization. How many years? Do you have experience with this tool, this tool, this tool? Because these are minimums that we need for this job. So you use those tools to screen out before the process, and that way you have a more streamlined. Now, yes, some people may have things they need to discuss. People may fall through the cracks, but it's kind of the 80-20 rule, right? If we need to optimize, there might be some fallout, but if it helps a greater good, it's probably better.
Yeah. And I have the final question about the culture. For example, let me share my story. A few years ago, that was in 2020, we spent so much time with one big project. I didn't have time to pay attention what's going on in my company. So I work hard now in day and night just to complete this project. Then a toxic environment appeared in my company. I didn't know about that. At that time I was a bad boss, but that happened. And good players in my company, they left company. So what I can do, I just started to research, to analyze, and got it. No way, I can't go ahead like this. I need to pay attention to my company, to speak to people, to know their personal problems, because it's not only about company, it's more about making people happy, to serve them. And for me, I think bosses can serve their people, not vice versa. Can you tell about toxic environment? How to avoid it? How to create the culture that people make people happy?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So pre-pandemic, culture was focused around the physical office space, right? It was focused around, is this a physically good environment for me to work? Do I feel comfortable coming into work? Am I friends with people? Do they have pizza parties? Are we going out for happy hour? Like, do I feel happy there? Culture. That was kind of the thought around culture. But when the pandemic happened and we all went remote, we started to rethink what culture means. Culture does not mean ping pong tables and cold brew and beer on tap. That's not what it is. Culture means, do I feel valued in my position within my organization? Am I getting feedback? And is there a clear trajectory of my future within this company? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hearing every single day. That's what culture means. A culture of my employer trusts me to work anywhere at any time. It doesn't matter as long as I'm delivering the work, I'm doing what I'm hired for, and I'm engaging with my coworkers in a meaningful way to keep the communication flowing, right? Not just hiding behind your computer, but being, proactive. And that's what it's all about.
Nice. Awesome. Adam, it's a big pleasure to get you on my show, to learn from you. You share a lot of valuable insights. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Yes. To your 93,000 followers. Hopefully all 93,000 are watching this right now, but you could follow me, hit that little bell, go to my profile, reach out, connect. I certainly appreciate it. You could check out my 2 recruiting practices, nhptalentgroup.com for Web 2. Web 3, which we launch in January, is probablynothingtalent.com. And please check out the show, thepodcast.com, for all the episodes.
Nice. Guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Welcome back anytime back, to share more valuable insights. Guys, you need to listen to Adam's podcast. You need to follow him, to learn from him. When you learn something new, implement, execute. Do something. Don't wait that the results will come because you know something. I found interesting thing. Great ideas can die in mediocre team, but mediocre ideas can survive and throw in a great team. So
absolutely.
It's better to build great team and surround yourself with good people. Okay, guys, love you. See you.